Hi everybody, Karen Roby and Matt Miller here for ZDNet. We're talking about wearables, specifically these watches, Matt, and I know you've got several of them in your possession. You've been checking them out and wearing them and reviewing them. So let me let you roll on here with pros and cons of each of them and what you really like.
Sure, Karen. It's after we end the summer and we head into the holiday season, it's a good time to start thinking about health and fitness and maintaining that health and fitness through the holiday season. So I've been checking out, and it's required a lot of running, hiking, biking for several wearables. I'll start at the high end with the most expensive one, and here's the Coros Icebreaker Color Vertex. Now, Coros isn't a brand you may not have heard much about. They launched in 2018. They now have 4 new watches. But what they do is they offer a lot of what we see in Garmin's or Suunto or Polar devices, but they've been extremely good at releasing updates to the watch. What's really interesting, this watch, I bought it about a month ago. It just had an update yesterday that actually enabled a touchscreen on it, which I had no idea when I bought it that it was going to be, I thought it was going to be buttons only with a digital knob. And then they launched an update that enabled some touchscreen capability with it, which is pretty amazing. So this is a $599 watch. It runs forever. It has a battery life with GPS running of 60 hours. And if you just have it in watch mode, it'll last 45 days. So, the big selling point for this one is climbers, hikers. It has a 150-meter water resistant, waterproof rating. It can be used down to 4 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really designed for the adventure that wants to go climbing and things like that. So that's the high-end watch.
And did you say, Matt, what were you saying there about in terms of how long it could last before it needs to be charged?
45 days in regular watch mode.
All right, so you're doing a lot of climbing, something like that. That's definitely who that would be appealing to.
Yeah, and if you're running with GPS, it's 60 hours. So that watch is really designed for the ultra marathoner, those people that are running for days on end and that kind of thing. So
I don't understand that, but I don't get it, but
I haven't yet achieved that.
Yeah, but glad that there is something that will let them go and go and go. Okay, you can go on to the next one now.
And something that's very similar to that watch is somebody from who we know, Garmin. This is the Forerunner 945. The price is $599 as well. This is a premium running triathlon watch. The Forerunner line is really designed for the runners. And this one has everything but the kitchen sink in it. I mean, offline music with Spotify, Garmin Pay, has third-party apps with Connect IQ, has a ton of customizations. You can make the display when you're running or biking or swimming or hiking or whatever. You can make it show whatever you want. Tons of customization. It has advanced training status, so it helps you with recovery, with where you are on your progress of your training and all that kind of thing. So this one, with the music enabled, it'll have 10 hours of battery life with GPS and music. So, and I have a different band on there and things too. But
and you said that one was at the $599 price point as well.
Yes, and this one is a non-touchscreen. It has 5 buttons, pretty typical for Garmin. And then another high-end one from Polar. So this is the Polar Vantage V. Polar is well known. They've been around for years with their heart rate technology, and they've been advancing their smartwatches and GPS watches lately. This is the successor to the V800, which was released something like 5 years ago. So this one's been a long time coming. And the way that Polar stands out, I don't know if you can see the back of that, but there is a lot of sensors on the back. I think there's 9 sensors for heart rate tracking. So it's super advanced heart rate tracking on there. But what they do that's unique to everybody else is they have on board running power. Now, people that cycle, it's easy to measure power on your bike. Now, running power is something that is kind of customized to each manufacturer, but it's designed so when you run up and down hills, it gives you a power level to help you maintain your work effort at an even level. If you run with pace and you run up a hill, it's much harder to maintain that pace uphill. So this running power idea is to kind of level the effort over hills and that kind of thing. So this is the only watch that has it actually integrated in the watch itself. And then it offers, as I said, the heart rate monitoring advanced training recovery. And this one in GPS mode is 40 hours. So it also has a very long battery life. And one that I'll talk about here next is another Polar watch that was just released in the last few weeks. This one here, the Vantage V, will get updates that the Polar Ignite already has that I'll talk about here in a second. So the Polar Ignite is a much more affordable one. It's $229. In my opinion, if you are a runner or a cyclist that is looking for a very good GPS smartwatch, this is definitely one to consider. I mean, at $229, it offers that same advanced battery or heart rate tracking on the back. This one has a single button and actually has a touchscreen on it, which is kind of different for Polar. But it's very focused on your health. It has a nightly recharge capability, breathing exercises, advanced sleep plus stages with scores. And then what's really unique about this one that's coming to the Vantage V later is a thing called FitSpark. So, you know, not everybody has a defined professional athlete training plan, right? A lot of us, we go on the same kind of runs every day and it kind of gets boring and stuff. So what this watch will do is you'll go on a run and then you'll have sleep and all that. So it's monitoring your life. And then what will appear on the screen, it'll show you some options. It'll say, today you should run for 40 minutes at this pace. And then if you scroll up, you can see another option. Okay, if you don't want to do that, how about cycling for 35 minutes at this pace? I mean, it gives you a bunch of different options, including exercises such as static stretching, dynamic stretching, other types of workouts. So it's kind of like having a coach on your wrist to help you, you know, mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, and at $229, that's considerably less than the first ones you were showing there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really tough not to pick up something like this at $229. You know, you're not going to get all of the high-end advanced tracking type of stuff that somebody that's training for a marathon or something may want to see. But for most people, this is perfectly capable. And this will last 17 hours with GPS running. So you're going to be able to cover any kind of exercise you could think about covering. You know?
Yeah, so that's a really good value, I guess you'd say, for a wider audience than maybe some of those first ones.
Absolutely. Now this one, it just arrived yesterday. Actually, this is the new Garmin Vivoactive 4, and Garmin at IFA just released 4 new watches, and this is one of the 4 new ones. This is a $349 watch. It's very similar to what the Garmin Forerunner 245 they released a few months ago, except this one has a touchscreen interface, but it has all of the great Garmin things of animated workouts, GPS, offline music, Garmin Pay, all the health stuff, sleep, body battery, with 5 hours of GPS. So this one is definitely a little bit more targeted towards the more casual type of athlete and the person that's looking for health, you know, tracking as well.
And tell us again what that one was priced at.
$349.
49. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
Right there in the middle.
I jumped up just because of the Polar line.
Right.
So the one thing that you'll kind of notice with all of these devices is that sleep is becoming more and more an important measure that all these devices are tracking. And I think that's wonderful because I know that's one area where I lack. I can run all the time. I cycle all the time, but you know, with this crazy tech world we live in, I spend too much time doing things when I should be sleeping. And so it's very interesting to see all of these devices have a very heavy focus on advanced sleep tracking, not just how long did I sleep, but how well did you sleep through all these different metrics, you know? So.
Yeah, and I think some would be surprised if they haven't looked into them yet, just how much information they can give to you that you can pass on to your doctor that really can make an impact on your overall health. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So the last one I have is the brand new Fitbit Versa 2. Now Fitbit has a huge ecosystem, right? It's got a lot of fans that typically wear the bands back in the past. This is their latest smartwatch. It does not have GPS. The one of all I've shown, it does not have GPS integrated, but it is their first AMOLED screen, so it has a very bright touchscreen on it now. A little bit modified form factor from the first Versa, but it has some more integration, right? Alexa is actually on it. If I was to push and hold the side button with it connected to my phone, Alexa would pop up, and I can ask it the weather tomorrow. I could have it um, set alarms and things like that, or just do internet searches that you would do, on the go. It also has Fitbit Pay integrated now. That used to be a premium. Now it's integrated with this watch. Has offline music for a couple of services, not Spotify yet, but has Pandora and Deezer. It does have an app store with the Fitbit OS, and that is growing. So there's a bunch of different little apps you can add on the device itself. And then again, sleep is a really big focus of this watch. It has this sleep score from 0 to 100. And I'm pleased to say that last night I finally got 86. I've been down in the 70s, and I've been trying to get into the 80s or 90s to improve.
Good for you. It makes quite a difference, doesn't it, and how you feel?
Yeah. Yeah. So it has a 5-day battery life. And as I said, there's no GPS. So I've taken it running, cycling, that kind of thing. And we're using your phone with the GPS. It's pretty consistent, 4 or 5 days of battery. One new thing that we just saw released on the new Apple Watch, that this one is a Fitbit as well, is it has an always on display mode. So you can have the time show all the time. That will cut the battery about in half though. So.
And Matt, when there's so much focus on health, which is great, and all of these watches have so much to offer, and I think sometimes that for consumers, when we look at what's available, it can be a little overwhelming when you're comparing prices and the pros and cons of each one. So how do you, as we wrap up here, how do you suggest people go about, buying one of these? How do they make that decision?
Yeah, so I think a couple things, is what do you want to get out of it? I mean, as a runner and a biker, I really have set a bar with at least has to have GPS. So the Fitbit Versa, I'm going to commit to using it for a month, but it doesn't have GPS. So me personally, it wouldn't be a purchase for me. So kind of look at, do you need GPS or not? And then do you have friends, right? Is there friends in the ecosystem? I mean, Fitbit has a huge ecosystem, and there's something to be said for having friends in that same ecosystem, because they can challenge you, right? They can challenge you to go a little bit further, and kind of hold you accountable, I guess, for your fitness. Garmin has that as well, and so does Polar, but they're all kind of separate, right? So it's good to gauge where your friends are and what ecosystem, to kind of help you motivate you as well. And then after that, I guess price is one, right? I mean, these range from $229 up to $600. So, how much do you want to pay?
Yeah, a lot to consider, but great that there's so many out there, so much choice for us. So some really great information there, Matt, for us, and we appreciate that. And all of Matt's reviews can be found on ZDNet, so we hope you'll check it out. Thanks for watching.